So you can go to my computer, yeah. So what I wanted to show is another thing on Embrilliance. I've showed you before, a couple of weeks back, how you can easily take things out of a design that you've purchased. I've also showed you how you can make your cut files from a design you purchased. I'm not sure anybody remembers any of it, but it's something that I think Embrilliance is most often used for.
Okay, I got the towel.
We had a special guest this summer who showed us how she was making beautiful Kleenex boxes. And she explained to us that she did that by taking an existing Kleenex box design from Anita Good Design, making a template, and then using designs that she purchased from elsewhere or designs already on your machine, and then threw them on that Kleenex box, and had a custom Kleenex box. I never covered how you go about making that template. And I was busy trying to come up with some Halloween mug rugs, and I thought, I have this pumpkin design already from somebody else. I also had something cool on the luminaire, built-in design, that I said, that's really cool, I'd like that. All I'm missing is the basic mug rug. Do I have the know-how to create the basic mug rug? Yes. But do I need to? No. I have several purchased mug rugs.
And you're reinventing the wheel.
Exactly. And we had done a Kimberbell workshop, I think last year, that included a mug rug with a teapot, which I thought was really cute. And I said, well, geez, all I don't want is the teapot. I want everything else on the mug rug but the teapot.
I'm seeing the teapot on your mug rug right there.
Well, that's because what I did, let me see if I can shrink that down a little bit so we can see what's going on. Let me turn on my special mouse. Okay, that's because this is this Kimberbell mug rug came with that workshop.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm thinking I liked how it was quilted. I like how it was made in the hoop. I love everything about it except I don't want a teapot on mine this time. I want something else. Maybe you want a monogram. So I wanted to review how easy it was to take stuff out of something. And I also want to warn you, if I know I'm going to change this mug rug, I'm going to make a template, which I will then save as my mug rug template. I probably want to do a save as before I do anything. I highly recommend before you do anything, because you don't want to ruin your original copy.
Yes.
And if I just start making changes and don't save my original copy and then do a save, it's going to save it over my original copy,
yes,
which is not something we like to do. So this is a good habit. You would want to do save as. That allows me to give it a different name. So I can save it as my mug rug.
Yes, whereas save just is going to overwrite whatever you have.
Right. Now, just to clear up, save as stitch in working versus save working file as or save stitch file as. With Embrilliance, the working file is not your stitch file. Your working file is got a BE extension on it. It's an Embrilliance workable file. Right now, I happen to be editing a PES file because I'm brought in something from somebody else. That's the difference. I always just save both, even though I probably would never use the BE again. But so I'm just going to do a save as.
But saving it with the BE keeps the component parts that you create to work to, like the layers and stuff, right?
And that's what I should say.
Yeah.
I would go back to BE if I wanted to edit. I'm going to have better editing capabilities. But if you just have Embrilliance, you're not creating stuff on your own.
Yeah.
You have to go up to enthusiast or higher.
Okay.
So with Embrilliance, I'm not allowed to create from scratch anyway.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, it's just the first one on the list, so I choose it. We're just going to say my design. You would obviously put it somewhere meaningful to you. I'm leaving it where I am currently working, so no biggie. It does already exist. My mug rug. My mug design. That's fine. It's my mug. Okay. Now you notice up here, when I make changes, I'm not going to mess around with my original file. It's just a safety net. So the first thing I told you is I wanted to get rid of the teapot altogether. right?
Mm-hmm.
So that this way, you know, when I'm on my machine, on my embroidery machine, I can just go in and say, you know, bring this mug rug design up. It's blank, and I can say add a file. I've got a blank mug rug. So I'm
Now, but
Go ahead.
won't the stitch order affect the mug rug itself, like the quilting and all that?
That's what we're going to look at next.
Okay.
Up here, this is what they call the objects windows. I've talked about this before. If I open this up, you're going to see all the different stitch steps. You have to understand the stitch steps before you start deleting things. I happen to know that's a placement stitch. That's a tack down stitch. That's a placement stitch. That's a tack down stitch.
And you don't want to get rid of that because that's your mug rug.
That's my mug rug. That's my quilting stitch.
Okay.
This is now the tack down stitch for my spout.
And that's part of the teapot, and we want to get rid of the teapot.
That's right. So what do you think we do?
Just a big old fat delete?
Yeah.
Hit your delete key?
Yeah. This is the placement for my
It's a spout.
spout. I can't even
My
talk.
spout.
This is the placement for my pot.
Yeah.
See how it's highlighting over here?
Yeah.
And also, if my screen were bigger, you could actually see the pot there. But if I had done a stitch simulator, you would have seen too that. Now here's the top. See what I'm doing? That's the placement. Now here's the embroidery stitch. I don't want that either.
And then, now it looks like a
I don't
sugar
want-
bowl.
Yeah. Well, there you go. If I got rid of this handle, it would be. There you go. Now it's a sugar bowl. But I don't want the bowl.
It's an ice cream sundae now.
Okay. We don't want that. We don't want that. You can keep the heart and move it anywhere you want, but I don't want it.
But you're lucky in that the way that this was stitched is that they're going over your quilting instead of the quilting around the
That
design.
is typically what you will find in the Kimberbell any mug rug in the hoop.
Okay.
That is typical. And I probably should have done the stitch simulator first to prove to you, but
Yeah.
that's how easy this is, though, to pick apart something. Because even if they hadn't, I still could have gone in and deleted the teapot.
Yeah,
All
but-
I am
but
is
wouldn't-
clicking on these
what
components
I'm
and
saying
blowing
is-
them away, and that's the end.
Yeah, and so now you have a blank
So now what?
template.
Yes, I do. And this is what Barb was saying she did for her Kleenex boxes. Whoops, let's try this. I'm going to speed her up a bit. So you can see the placements, the quilting, and of course in my directions it's going to tell me where to put the batting,
Yeah,
and to
and
put
all
the
that.
back on,
Yeah.
and all that good stuff. But, da-da.
And then you're just gonna because that
Now
happened,
I'm going to save this as my mug design.
and because the way that they digitized it, they did the basic mug rug first, and then put your applique on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even put your applique. You can just bring that in later when you bring it up on your machine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, or a monogram,
Yep.
or wording, anything you want. At this point, I can save this. So when you get a mug rug, or anything, the Kleenex box, anything that's template, I just want people to understand you can take it and reuse it so easily for so many things. Now I could have deleted all the quilting stuff and kept the teapot, and guess what I would have had? A teapot.
Yes, an
That I
applique
could
teapot.
applique on anything else I wanted
Yeah.
to do. So it's just to say, look, there's all these other things. Don't think I got to go buy a new mug
So
rug all the time.
Now, my question would be, from a technical standpoint,
Yeah.
what would be the benefit of the working file versus the stitch file? Because the layers are still available even under a PES format. So why?
Right. When I
Do you get what I'm asking?
I do get what you're asking.
Is there a benefit to the work file over the stitch file?
There is when you start resizing things.
Oh, okay.
Your
That makes sense.
parameters are
Okay, that makes
larger.
yes.
Most people aren't, like if I blew this up to a 12 by 12,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to stitch as well as if I had taken the working file, the BE
Okay, I
file,
got you.
and blown that
So
up
the
to
working
12 by
file
12.
is working with the vector versus the actual stitch, kind of.
Not
no?
always in Embrilliance, no. But the other thing about the working file is I can then massively save it to more than one format.
Oh yeah, okay. That I kind of got too.
And
Okay.
in this case, it would be PS.
Yeah,
It's
PS. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But so that's just how easy it is. And now when I save this, my mug rug, if I do another save, I now have this as a template. And this is what Barb was showing, only she was doing it with the Kleenex
Yeah.
boxes. So I have 4 sides or 5 sides for the Kleenex box.
Yeah.
This is what she was doing. She was completing, taking away everything that made it unique,
Yeah.
keeping the template, because that's all this is a template at this point.
Yeah, and then you're just.
And then she was adding stuff from Stitch to Light on
Yeah.
it to
Okay.
to create, and your machines are full of beautiful things.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So just something to keep in the back of your head. But okay, so here's our mug rug before we made any changes to it.
Mhm.
I wanted to just review very quickly because it's this easy how easy it is to take something in, and I'm doing this because in Prairie we did this. How
Yes.
easy it is to take something and make it so it will be a cut file.
Yeah, SVG is a standard for cut files.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
And that would be for a Cricut, for a scan and cut, for
any
whatever. Yeah.
electronic cut file,
We'll
any
read an
electronic
SVG.
cutting
Yep.
machine, including the laser ones. There's no mystery there. They all use SVG files.
Well, SVG is like a standard vector
Yeah.
format.
Yeah, so let's put this down so I can see. Okay, so remember I said that's your placement stitch right there?
Yep.
Every time I see a placement stitch, and you'll notice what they did for us, which a good digitizer will do, see how they called it the same color each time?
Yep.
See how that's it? That's it, right? See
Yeah.
how every one of those components is a placement stitch. What I do is I click on it, and I come down to where the thread is,
Mm-hmm.
and I choose it. On this screen, and I think usually it comes up and it looks like this. So then people are like, what do I do? What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
You have to go to this applique menu. In here,
Why doesn't it have the accent over the E? Applique.
In here, it's telling me it's not applique. I'm thinking, yes, it is. It is my applique positional stitch. As soon as I tell the software that it's used for applique positioning, I have all these other things that come up. The most important one for us today is this cutting. A lot of people like to inflate it, and let me tell you why. That's because there is a blade width to whatever cutter you're using, and they like to inflate it so that your fabric covers the placement line. I think 1.5 is a little aggressive. I'd find it's better down near the 1 millimeter one, but you have to use your cutter and figure out how wonderful the setting should be. So what I'm going to do here, if I just click save, I am now saving just that one piece, that spout. But I want to say save all. I'm just going to leave it that for now. This is saving SVG. We just take your...
And that's saving it separate from the stitch pattern.
Yeah, I just saved an SVG file.
Now, does it save just that spout?
Well, it saved just that spout because that's the only one I had tagged as application. Because see how it changed?
And if you
Now watch, if I change this, I'm just going to change it. I'm not going to do any savings. I'm just changing him, okay? See how I changed him, and we said there were 3, right? So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to change him. I'm changing the properties of these guys. Now, they're still going to stitch out.
Yeah.
I'm just telling the machine, in addition to stitching it out, it is also a positional file. Now when I say, well, let me say okay. All right. See how I have 3 now?
Yeah.
Now, when I come in and I do a save all,
Yeah.
I am now saving to one file all 3 of those pieces.
So there's a single SVG file with those 3 shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was gonna be my question.
The first time I had one SVG file for the spout, and that was it because nobody else was identified as an applique.
And then when you bring that into your cutting machine, you can then separate them out for your different color fabrics and stuff.
Don't choose applique material. You are not going to get a SVG cut file from applique material. Applique material is there so that Embrilliance has this really cool feature where it eliminates anything that's covered by something else. It automatically takes out stitches. So if I had a satin stitch all around my spout and my spout was moved to the back of my teapot and now my teapot was on top of my spout, you don't see it on here unless you hit a special key, but when it sends it to the PES version, it says, oh, well, don't do all those satin stitches because they're hidden. It knows they're hidden if I tell it that the applique is material.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that's the big difference. People get confused. If I'm just creating a cut file, it's applique position that I need to create it from.
Okay, that creates the cut file, and applique material creates the area, basically.
Yes, that's for you. That's a different reason you would want to choose that. I usually don't even bother choosing it, but there is a plus to it.
Yeah, there's a reason it's there.
Yeah.